to the East Hampton Town Architectural Review Board of today's date, which is August 12th already, 2021. And I'd like to open the meeting with the approval of last meeting, which was July 22nd, 2021. Can I get a second, Diane?
Yes, second.
All in favor, Esperanza?
Aye.
Chip?
Aye.
And we're just waiting for Jonathan, our fifth board member. He's on his way in. Okay.
But there is a quorum present now.
Yes, but he has the first application, so I'm going to go to the second. So I'm going to move to the second item on the agenda, which is agricultural overlay, 300 WM LLC tax map number 300-200-2-3530 Wayne Scott Main Street, Wayne Scott, New York. This applicant has asked to be adjourned to our next meeting, which is August 26, 2021. And Jonathan's on his way in. There he is. Jonathan, get yourself set.
I apologize.
That's okay. We're just going to take a minute because we'd like to start with the first application. I'm going to read it into the record where Jonathan pulls out his paperwork because Jonathan was assigned to this. And in the meantime, Kyle, if you want to pull up one of the color renderings of the front facade of the new proposed residence, which is under Historic Districts and Landmark, number 1 on the agenda, Dustin Horowitz and Pearlie, tax map number 300-172-2-4, 462 Montauk Highway at Namagansett. Jonathan, whenever you're ready, take your time. If you'll read into the record what the application is for.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. The application is, the wrong sheet of paper.
I have the application if you don't have it.
It's right here. It's for a proposed one-story residence with a swimming pool to the rear. The lot is currently vacant and the location of the prior residence is shown in the submitted survey. That residence was identified in the zoning appendix A as Amagansett Historic District guidelines as being a non-historic home. The submitted plans are modeled after Hugh Jacobson's 1998 Life magazine DIY Dream House of the Year.
Did you read into what the square footage of the house was? Did I miss that?
The residence will be 2,785 square feet, and the swimming pool is 15 by 30.
Which pools don't come under our purview. It's a single story, single family residence. Tara Burke is representing the owners. If you would like to come up to the podium.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Tara. How are you? Nice to see you.
Tara Burke, here on behalf of Pearlie and Dustin Horowitz.
Right. Okay. So why don't you walk us through what's going on and
Sure.
talk about the design.
So this piece of property is, as you can see on the conceptual site plan, adjacent to the tennis court at the, I guess the best way to describe it is the tail end of Amagansett Main Street before it, curves around the bend where the building supply store is, the IGA and all that. It's a vacant lot. And I'm not sure when the existing house was torn down, but I think it was several years ago. The property, as you can see, it sits between 65 and 70 feet off of the edge of pavement. So that land in front is actually part of that tennis court lot.
Who owns the tennis court? Is that private or is that a public court?
I'm not sure, to tell you the truth.
Do you know? Carol knows everything.
Sure. Now, I think it might be part of that beach.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those, it's not completely public, but,
I think it might be
not one person's
tenant
right.
against the beach.
Okay.
There's a little community
That owns it
there, yeah.
And the house is, so you can see the front yard setback line is the dotted line that goes through sort of the center of the proposed driveway. And they're proposing to keep the existing trees along the front as shown sort of like right in front of the driveway there. It's a one-story house. It is modeled after the Hugh Jacobson design from the Life magazine Dream Home series. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that, but it has been tweaked from that, but that was sort of the original thought process that went into it. I submitted some renderings that have the street side view, the north.
Well, before you go on, I just want to ask David, David, the area between the edge of the pavement on Montauk Highway and where their property sits behind the sidewalk, is that considered a right of way or an easement? What's the classification on that?
So could you point to it kind of on the,
Where that little walkway is?
Right here.
That whole area there.
so the right of way is the town highway right of way, which is between the edge of the pavement and the road, right? So that would be, kind of from the top of that to the, somewhere where the white shoulder is. This is just, I would almost just refer to it as an access way or something. So
So
it's,
it's not an easement
I don't,
technically.
Survey. I'd like to see it on the survey. I mean,
It's not on the
It's
survey.
not an easement,
Okay.
it's town road right of way. Yeah, you can see on the survey, the edge of pavement, and then you can see where the parcel next door ends or both adjacent parcels and where that town road right of way starts.
All right.
It's the existing curb cut.
Okay. And I just want to point out one other thing, before we go on into the house. Because this is in the historic district, there are guidelines. And it actually mentions in our guidelines that there are 3 properties in the historic district that do not have historic homes on it. And this number 462 was listed as one. So the house that had been demolished was not a historic home, although it was and is in the historic district. And this new proposed residents will need to follow our codes for new construction in a historic district. Okay. All right, so let's go through. And Jonathan, or anybody else on the board, if you have any questions as we're going through, let's hit them as we're looking at each elevation. Okay, let's start with the first one. The first rendering. Oh, good, thank you. Okay.
Oh, do you want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the street side view, which is the same as the north elevation. There's a couple different materials proposed. The 2 sides are Eastern red cedar, and the fascia boards will also be Eastern red cedar. The center section, they're proposing to be a brushed white stucco, and the roof is a 12-inch black colonial seam raised seam metal roof. And then the chimney is proposed to be white stucco as well.
Any questions? All right, we can move on to the elevations then.
So the north elevation is the one that you would see from the street. And that's essentially what I just went through. It's the same as the street side view,
Which is the bottom.
yeah, just without the vegetation in the front. The south elevation is the rear of the house, which won't be visible from the street. It's the same materials, mimicking the same materials as the front, just all windows. And those are black Marvin windows, Marvin Coastline series.
I have a question on the south elevation, the property behind it. Is there a residence there or is that vacant land?
There's a residence behind it, but the house meets the setbacks.
And the pool and everything?
Yeah, we're well within the allowable setbacks.
And is it wooded, is there screening at the edge of the property line? So that, the only reason
In the
why I'm
rear?
yes, and the
Yes.
only reason why I'm asking is because there is a full set of, floor to
Sure.
ceiling glazing
Yeah.
that would
Yeah,
emit a
there's
lot of
trees.
light,
I don't know
so.
if you can see here, but that's from the street, right? So you can see right here,
Oh, I see, okay.
there's some pretty thick vegetation in the back. And I don't imagine they would want to look at the neighbors anyway, so, they might supplement it. And then these are, this is the east and west elevations. So, as you saw in that street view, right, the 2 side, the H's, right? So that was the center H, these are the side H's. The roof on the sides would be Western cedar shake shingles. And then the walls themselves would match that front section on the north and south elevation, which is the brushed white stucco. And that one is facing a residential property and the other one is facing the tennis court.
Anybody have any questions for Tara about the elevations at this point?
It's a one-story house.
Yes.
Jonathan, you have anything you want to say?
I was gonna, present some things
Oh, great. Let's do it. Go ahead.
right now.
Yeah.
Are you done with it? Yeah, okay. So, I brought along Hugh Jacobson, and,
Did you really?
I did.
Or the
Is he here?
magazine.
No, he just died a couple of months
Oh,
ago,
I'm
but.
sorry to hear that. Because I was going to ask you, I'm not familiar with Jacobson's, yeah.
All
Maybe
right,
you're
so,
still trying
this
out,
is the, on the screen is the house, Hugh Jacobson house. There's about, a series of these of the same plan, and they have different, materials and so forth, and I brought along, 2 pictures of that.
Nice, thank you.
One of the things that is really interesting is that, there's an approach to designing a modern house that for a historic district, modern structure for a historic district, whether it's commercial or residential and so forth. And this Hugh Jacobson actually does that perfectly, and it fits our scale, our regulations for a historic district. It's got horizontal siding, either clapboard or shingles. It's got the height appropriate for the neighborhood, for the district. That would be the center zone. And the windows are proportional to the historic building. They can also be more vertical than these square ones.
Well, they should be more vertical.
They should be more vertical than the square
Which
ones.
they are.
I meant to say, so forth. The plan, the dimensions of the proposed building are slightly different. It's actually, I forgot the actual dimensions, but it's like 16, 22, and 16 or something like that, or 17 and 22. Hugh has 16, 24, and 16. So it has a real ABA kind of scheme, which is 2/8, 3/8, and 2/8 again. So that allows the proportion of the interior spar, the crossbar of the H to be proportioned to this and can rise up. The roof is they're approached as 3 separate structures, so that the roof is floating and can really has a presence as a dwelling. And the central structure is really dominant in the taller, wider chimney and a wide embracing entryway, which in this case is subsumed into the house a little bit for protection. And that's it. The windows are.
Well, let's go back to the original, yeah, because this is, and where is this house located the one that you just had up on the screen, the white one?
The white one, it's just one of a dozen or so of different models of this type. I don't know where.
But you don't know where it's located, if it's not out here or another state.
No.
But that one had dormers, like little dormers, and this one does not.
Right.
So is this 1.5 stories also? Like,
Yeah, it's also 1.5 stories.
Okay.
Those dormers,
Just minus the dormers.
the dormers are just for light to come down and emphasize the architectural item.
Kyle, if you can go to the next one where we get, right, that's perfect. Okay.
So that entryway again is sort of recessed, like the one.
It's recessed.
Okay.
It's obviously wider, appearance wise.
Nice.
Okay. Anything else, Jonathan?
The The roof triangles are accentuated as a real triangle where they have a proportional system where the triangle has a bottom line, especially on the back side, which you may see. The roof materials are all the same. They're not conflicting. The materials are all the same and they're horizontal. And the
What materials
Wait,
are
these are
horizontal?
vertical
These are
boards.
vertical.
correct.
As opposed to the.
The other one, the
Well, I don't want to compare it to the other one
Okay,
because there's no,
confusing everybody.
there's no context to that.
all right.
No, it helps to know
Yeah,
that this is
no.
a design. 'cause
Right,
it
no, and I
helps
understand
to
that.
see it built, but this is a little different, so.
Anything else, Jonathan? That you wanted to point out?
Okay, well, discussing the East Hampton Historic Board regulations for a new building. I think the scale of this building does not fit the historic district. As I said, that it doesn't have the height of a traditional type building. It has simple forms, but they are not coordinated properly.
Well, let me do this. Let me do this, Jonathan. Let me just read really quickly what the requirements are for new construction. If it's contemporary design, the Amagansett Historic District is a complex entity. It reflects a wide range of historical periods and contains many different building types. Contemporary design should fit into the existing context while contributing to the sense of evolution and the complexity of the historic district. Contemporary designs that respond to the architectural traditions and character of the historic district are encouraged. Contemporary design should relate to the forms, materials, design, details, and other characteristics of the historic buildings, but are not required to imitate historic styles of the existing buildings. Then it goes into accessory buildings, which this does not have. And new buildings should be sited on their lots corresponding to the setbacks of adjacent historic buildings. The front facade of a new building should face the street, which it does. The rhythm of spacing of buildings, there's only one building. The scale of a new building and its features should be in harmony with the scale of the historic residence in the district. And the height of a new residence should be within the range of heights of historic residents in the district. Massing new buildings should employ the traditional simple forms prevalent in the district. And then it talks about proportion and arrangement of windows and other openings. And it says basically the windows of a new building should generally be rectangular in a vertical proportion, which these are. The arrangement of doors, windows, and doorways should produce a balanced facade. The front facade and prominent side facades of the new building should have the ratio of door and window area to wall area similar to that of historic residence. So you're concerned about this design. I don't know if I agree that it should be taller.
Yeah.
You know, it says that it doesn't have to match the historic buildings, and I actually am impressed that it's such a modest scale of a home, and considering what we're experiencing throughout all the hamlets.
What is the size of the property?
2,700 plus square feet.
No,
The size of the lot. What's the size of the lot?
The property is 20,000 square feet.
I mean, it sort of looks like an old-fashioned 19th century carriage house from the front, with a setback central block and then two
Right.
wings coming forward. I think it's perfectly historically built.
You know what it reminds me of, to your point that you just said that, and we reviewed it not too long ago. You know, the really nice barns out in Montauk at the ranch across the street? Remember they were redoing them? They had a similar feeling with the chimneys and the stucco, and
That was mine.
that was yours, right? But don't you sit there. Don't you see that? Yeah. Anything else, Jonathan, that you wanted to talk about? Because we could take a vote on it from the board's perspective, but there were some other things that I wanted to mention before we do that.
Just a question, the standing seam is, it's black, right? Like a deep black?
It's a little severe for me as far as a historically sort of more fitting color, but
Built
I
up.
love it with the brush white
Built up.
stuff. Yeah, and then the black trim.
striking.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of how it fits in the.
But I think to Jonathan's point, because he and I talked about it when he was going out there, that when he drove by, you don't even really see, even though there's nothing there, but you won't really see it too much from the road based on the landscaping at the front.
Well, I think if I could just jump in for a second, I think that's an important point just to take note of, that the road right of way is 65 to 70 feet wide, right? Before you even get to the property line. The house is set back 50 feet, so
Right.
that's
Over
over 100 feet. And plus, it's on a turn where people are either focusing on making the left to go towards Old Stone Highway, right? Or they're focusing on picking up speed to, go past the senior citizen housing.
Or anybody walking will be able
Yeah.
to, like peek in as they're walking by.
But it's visible, but it's not,
It's not right on the street.
yeah.
I don't think that's in our requirements, so.
No, it's just somebody
It's an added
pointing out, that's all.
Anything else, Jonathan?
I think, some more thought should go into that. I think that horizontal siding that you're seeing from the road is really important.
But you would prefer it,
Horizontal.
is that what you're saying?
I prefer, it, and it says right in the guidelines.
Where am I looking? Did I miss that? My interpretation that it's not required to imitate historic styles of existing buildings.
It shouldn't necessarily have to imitate. All I'm saying is that it can be friendly to it.
Mhm.
You can do both simultaneously. And
And the example that you had put had the.
was the
horizontal.
example that they quoted. I didn't even
Right.
come up with that. Anyway, number 8, materials. The materials of a new building should be in harmony with the materials of the historic residences. No stucco in the historic residences. Wood shingles or clapboards are appropriate siding materials. That's horizontal siding, traditional, and are used in modern buildings. Clapboards would be nice.
It's a small change. I think it might be appropriate.
And, some other window proportions, a bigger front door system, things like that would help it a lot.
Chip, where are you on this?
I actually am favorably impressed with it.
And do you feel that by accepting the proposal as presented, that it would still be in keeping with the guidelines, or do you think that Jonathan's point, which is valid, would make it so much of a difference to require the applicant to consider that?
Well, I mean, stucco is a very common 19th century surface. Stanford White's own house was stucco. So I don't have a problem with stucco at all. And whether it's board and batten or any vertical siding, there's all sorts of precedents for that everywhere. Many carriage houses and barns were vertical
We're
siding.
talking about our historic district,
I know, but I'm just talking
not
about,
Stanford White's. And
you were
not-
saying there was never any stucco in the 19th century. That's what
No,
you
no,
just said.
he's saying in that
In
historic
Amagansett.
district. So we're talking specifically about the Amagansett Historic District. So
Right.
If I could just jump in, I'm just wondering, Jonathan, where it says that there's no stucco. I see that in,
No, excuse me, it doesn't say no stucco.
Okay.
But you go through the historic district.
Sure.
Historic buildings. don't.
but yeah, that's not one of the things in the code though, correct?
Right, yeah, right.
Right.
Well, let me say a couple things that stood out to me, irregardless of where we're at with the design of that on the elevations, I don't see any light fixtures. And that's an important feature. So we would need to have all the exterior light fixtures placed on the elevations in the location that they're going to be, as well as in the shape and design and spec sheets for those. And there is not any garage. And if and when this proposal goes through, I just wanted to state that any garages or accessory buildings, fences above 4 feet, any type of walls, gates, or berms would not be included as well. Although I think Jonathan pointed out that there were some columns that you saw
On the
Is it-
survey.
on the
And on
survey.
That's on the survey?
Yeah, from the old house. That's not, those are from the old house, that's not.
Okay, so they were
Oh, they're
there.
Oh, they're not there?
Right.
Okay.
Are you going to keep them?
No, they're gone. She says they're gone, yeah.
Right, so this survey is from the old house.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to take a look at the survey on the smart board? Just to get a lay of the land?
So given that we're requesting to have the lighting indicated, would it be something to suggest that they might just change and look to the proposed horizontal siding?
To consider
To
it?
consider it?
I mean,
Just to see,
I was actually going to ask you if we could get an approval for this design with the understanding that we need to resubmit, if you choose to approve it, understanding that we need to resubmit a new application that shows lighting, just so that they can at least move forward.
Well, I don't think we're ready to approve it. I think we all like the design and the elements, but I think Jonathan has a good point with regards to the vertical versus horizontal. So I guess to Esperanza's point, since we're not in a position to approve it, if you would go back and ask them and their architect if they would consider something more traditional.
the horizontal siding.
Right. Because Jonathan, did you say you had 2 photos of this
Yeah, there's a
Hughes?
second photo of the back,
Because let's look at those 2 to see if,
because that has slightly different materials, you know.
yeah, let's just take a look. Is that it?
That's the backup one.
That's the back, yeah. You see on the 2 side buildings, it's set up as a triangle
Mm-hmm.
so that there's a horizontal right at that spot. Horizontal siding would help with that. Of course, these are floor to ceiling windows.
But there's the horizontal on the 2nd story, right?
On the triangle. he's
Yeah.
saying, yes.
On the bottom of the
Unless
triangle,
that's just shingles, I can't see that far.
those are shingles.
Shingles,
Those are wood shingles, yeah. That might have a metal roof actually too, so black metal roof. But clapboards or shingles would help emphasize that upper triangle. The triangles are also enhanced by the tiny windows, but that are in the middle part. But I'm just saying that's all those things work together to give it a sense of scale and.
But then you would actually be asking them to redesign this to have the
No,
shingles.
we're asking them to go back and rethink everything and see if they're going to do horizontal siding.
Only this would change
Yeah.
to horizontal.
No, I know, but he was saying to mimic the shingles on the triangles, the shingles on here.
Just but just in the horizontal, right?
Yeah,
Not shingles. He's not saying.
Oh, I
I'm not saying, I'm pointing out that these are shingles is what
Yeah,
we're looking at. Okay, that's all.
So that not to shingle inside the triangle.
I frankly think it would make it sort of less severe. Again, I thought the black roof is severe. And then when you mention that, the idea of this verticality, the standing seam is also that vertical line. I think then the horizontal would kind of serve as a counterbalance
Correct, yeah.
and be more harmonious with it.
Okay, and where are you on this?
Well, I was ready to like the house. But now I'm getting a little architectural and historic background. I don't have, I have no problem with either.
Okay. Well, I think instead of us rushing this through, because it is an historic district, and I think it's an important situation that the board needs to consider, if they would consider our suggestions and do a second presentation with the lighting on it, and then we can compare one versus the other. We may end up liking the original one better, but I think it would be to our best interest and also to the hamlet of Amagansett that we have, you know, a second eye on this. But I think overall, everyone was favorable of the shape and,
Yeah.
you know, all the design elements as well as the materials, right, Jonathan? You feel the same way? It's really just you're trying to mold it more into where the code is, correct?
Yeah, I think following the code is important in a historic district and everywhere, but I mean, in this case, the
And then-
code.
And then on the inside of these peaks, they would have the shingles like on the,
No shingles, it's the horizontal
no,
siding.
you're not on the roof, okay? Inside here.
Yeah.
Is this,
Well, on the roof on
Right.
these, yes.
Yes.
is that shingle?
That's
Yes,
shingle.
okay, that's what I want to know, because I know there's shingle here, so
You
I,
can see that better on the site plan, the conceptual site plan, the first page.
right, which is that.
Mhm.
That's what I was asking for confirmation of.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so,
the roofs are shingle, yeah.
yes, that's what I was asking. I didn't know if it was the actual shingle or if it was more standing seam. All right, so I think you have enough to go back on. I think it's really more just the siding
Okay.
at this
When
point.
we can come back with the horizontal siding shown and then we'll show the lighting.
Right, okay, and they'll pick out their lighting fixtures and we'll go from there. And then our next meeting is the 26th, I believe I said. Okay, good. Thanks, Tara.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan, that was great.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to move on to change to commercial, which is item 3 on the agenda, tax map number 300-197-1-45, 81 Wayne-Scott, Northwest Road in Wayne-Scott. And hi, Lori,
Hello.
This is going to read into record what's what.
Photo realization.
Oh, boy.
Yesterday.
These new than what we had.
They're all 4 elevations. It took them.
Oh, I see. Oh, nice, thank you. But we don't have them on the smart board.
Nope.
They are, aren't they?
No, she just did.
Front elevation was finished at the time of this resubmission.
Oh, I saw a couple, but I didn't see them all. I
In
think.
the future, if you could get this to us at least even by this morning, we could have uploaded.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I got into a problem with the fence at East Hampton House because we turned it in the day before. None of you saw it. I didn't want to do that again. Okay, so
One has nothing to do with the other.
The timing.
I'm just looking for the original application and I'm just finding for the signage that's being, sorry.
so they was now 4 signs, but not exceeding the 32 square feet.
Right, but we're dealing with the change to commercial.
Right.
Oh, right, sorry.
I would like to make a suggestion if the board agrees with me. I'd like to jump to change to commercial.
We are
first.
on change to commercial.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry.
Okay,
When she started saying something about the business.
I was
side,
just
that's
looking
why-
for the application because I have all these different documents. Okay, so the original application is proposed 2-inch by 10-inch cedar horizontal boards to run perimeter walls. 1.5 inch overhang. Proposed color modification to existing 1-inch by 6-inch vertical cedar siding to be painted white. Proposed changes to existing roof line and new cedar on roof will be left natural to weather.
And the 3 triangle windows are back.
Yes, yes. So that just pretty much covers it with the application, right? Okay. So I'm just going to take a look at these that you just gave us. Okay.
I have elevations if anybody wants to take a look, unless you want to follow the film up on.
Very easy.
Pretty graphic.
So,
Definitely.
so I mean, I think we had reviewed this twice already in a way with the different, with the suggestion of then to maintain the triangular windows, which I thought was a good thing. I really, I'm sort of hesitant about how stark white this is.
Against the big black windows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's got the same feeling as Serena and Lily.
Yes, I know, but
It's-
Serena and
yeah,
Lily,
yeah.
oh, I sent those pictures. Do you have those reference pictures?
Yeah.
Please.
Because I don't think the windows are really that black.
They can't
No.
possibly be this black.
They're
No,
not,
they-
no,
this
they
is
look
the
like
thing.
they're.
That's just how it came out in the rendering. They're not intended.
See, there it is right there.
Well, they also have divided lights for these.
Okay, so this
Right.
is our reference, okay. And I'm wondering if Serena and Lily is a little more off-white than this white.
Well, this is just an image, right? You can choose.
I understand, but it was just like a Benjamin Moore kind of, right?
Mhm.
White.
White. Mhm. Kind of to stay in line with the seafood shop and the
Yeah.
trim on the bagel place.
Yeah.
They're all white.
Yes, but I note that. I also then see it against the back building, which is still the
Right.
brown, dark brown.
That's just,
I know, I'm not saying it's a good reference, I'm just saying
Yeah.
it's there, and then this is going to really stand out.
yeah. Can you tell me, it's sort of in the same idea, on the west side, this is a glass with black window frames?
Yes, that's how it is now, actually. We're not changing the frames.
I'm not checking.
Let's take a look at what it looks like currently,
Look
so
at
we
the-
could understand, 'cause the windows aren't changing, correct? You're keeping the old windows?
Correct.
Yeah, there's just the replacement of
They're not
those
black
AC
at all.
units.
No.
The black frames.
But the glass is not black.
Right.
No,
Which is what
no.
the-
Yeah.
what the-
Yeah,
Yeah.
this makes
No,
it look
it-
like
it-
that, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually transparent. When you drive by and there's no shades on it, you
Mhm.
see right into it. That's the whole idea.
Mhm.
And I'd like to go back to the black frames again, or whatever that color is. I'm wondering, because one of the things about the framed windows is that the black frame windows is that makes the gray and the white a little softer, where you have the white around the windows only, it seems to like shock you, and especially in the diamond area of the east side.
It's just an unfortunate kind of rendering, that's.
And I'm just, well, it's.
Kyle, if you can go back to the original building and just stay away from this for now, so we could just get our bearings.
All right.
Yeah. And the front, let's see if is there a front facade of the old?
Yeah, because also the rendering right now is not, it's showing it as like, almost as if it were stucco, rather than the vertical, which has a
Yeah,
board, which has a
yeah,
texture.
yeah.
Correct.
So,
So you weren't planning on putting a white trim in between the,
When
okay,
you
so
paint
that's
it,
incorrect.
This is
oh,
incorrect
yes,
then.
I see, yeah.
I see, all right,
That's
so
what he's
let's see
talking
what
about.
let's see what the other sides are.
It's more of a black frame.
Right. So I think the first
Okay.
page is a little misleading, but then at least then you get to see this, right?
Yeah.
Which is more accurate.
Are there more original photos?
I have, there's more of the side and the back.
Just these two, not the diamond
No,
ones?
there were more.
Yeah, so there's a note on the plans that says, note, existing door and windows are black metal.
Right.
So that's to remain.
All right,
Can I jump in? Esperanza?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Kyle, there was a photograph right there in the top corner that you were just on that is the mattress firm. I just want to bring this to the attention of the board, that this has like more of a brown, if you can see on the roof with the black frame, with some white, you know what I'm saying? So the more prominent part of the building is more in line with what is existing on the other building. It's like almost like a combination.
Mhm.
They're trying to modernize it, lighten it up.
I do like the dark stained wood though. I do. I'm not a big fan of this white, and maybe it's because of the way it's presented in these renderings.
it has no detail.
Right, because they are boards.
The white, what if, they're painted white cedar, that's white cedar is there now.
Correct.
Correct. I'm just.
No, it's not. It's a dark stained cedar.
Now,
It's now cedar. It's
Yeah,
now
it's
cedar.
not white.
I know it's not white. Cedar is, I meant
The material.
painted with the existing cedar that's there now.
Right.
That's what they're doing.
That's what they're, that's my question, this confirmation.
Mhm.
And, you know, there's going to be a lot of detail and some vertical stuff and whatever. I'm wondering if you might want to have a sample of, I guess there's not really a white stain anywhere, is there?
There's a
Like
Virginia
a
white.
pickle kind of thing, like a
A
pickle.
pickled kind of thing, but white.
There's a solid white Virginia stain. It's a Cabot stain. It looks like paint.
Right, but you would have to then bring that all down to the natural wood. They'd have to strip all that dark stain off in order to pickle it. You wouldn't be
Power
able
wash
to
Yeah.
pickle on top of
This
this
is
dark
not
stain.
pickling. This is a white.
No, I
solid.
understand, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, that white stain is like paint, which is not what I was gonna say. I mean, something that's a little more, has a little slight bit of transparency to it.
Translucency, yeah.
That
That's
would,
what-
might be nice. It would soften the whole thing.
Mhm.
Although, of course, we're looking at, you know, what literally looks like stucco, which is, that's the thing that we don't want to see.
Right, yeah. So I guess what we're saying is that we're not entirely opposed to the white, just not
The way it's
sort of as a
presenting.
texture
right,
comes through,
Yeah.
and that maybe it's a little more, less hard edged.
We should really see it with boards. I mean, we're painting,
See what?
you're painting boards.
Mhm.
This looks like stucco, so let's see it with painted boards.
Yes, well, like in the front side, so the windows look like they have a white frame around them.
I noted
So
that.
that's an error, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's more like what's on the side.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
The
you
only
know,
thing-
I'm sorry, go ahead, Jim.
The only thing about pickling is if you look at the Serena and Lily building, which, you know, everyone seems to love, the horizontal boards on the top, they are now not solid at all. They're sort of fading and there's sort of a musty, dirty look to those boards as they weather. They're not weathering
Which is what
consistently.
they're going for here. on the
Right,
roof.
but this is very clean and solid, but if you put up, we see the Serena and Lily.
But that's what eventually would happen with this
If-
on the roof
If they're
line. too.
natural, right, it gets down to this sort of pickled look you're talking about, but it's not
It's a
particularly, see,
weathered gray.
It's like
Actually,
drift.
I kind of like that.
I don't mind that.
it looks like a beach thing,
Yeah.
It is,
but it didn't start that way.
It didn't, it was what?
It
was a little more
It was
solid.
more solid.
Hmm,
but it was gonna weather.
That's probably where it's gonna go, because
Right.
that's what's natural cedar left to the
Right.
environment.
It's got some mildew in it. That's the.
Well, that can be cleaned off easy.
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
easily.
Somebody's got to get up there and do it.
Yeah, but you're saying you like that look.
No,
I liked
he
it
doesn't.
better originally before.
Oh,
it got
you did
dirty,
before it got
dirty.
Okay.
I don't mind that look at all.
Well, it's mildew. That's what it is.
You know, Lori, also too, just please keep in mind that, you know, this is a prominent, I think I might have said this before, it's a prominent building
Mhm,
in Wainscott.
mhm.
And, you know, there's been so many, you know, bad decisions along the way that we just want to make sure that the residents of Wainscott are going to like this as much as the new owners and the board. So we're just being very careful with it.
I don't remember any objections to this building at all.
It actually won an award by the village.
Yes, I think it did.
I remember the day they stood there and had this
Village?
award ceremony. The village gave it an award.
Oh, East Hampton?
No, Wainscott.
No, the
Just-
village, no, Paul Rickenbach and the Village Improvement Society gave it an award for being that standing building.
Outside the
But
boundary.
it's
That was the town.
Not even in
It didn't get an award anyway.
Okay.
Well, you know, the other point to consider is that there's, you know, quite a bit of this type of look. Do we want it to look so same
Uniform.
as, and
Yeah,
it
that's-
ends up
that's the
looking
thing,
more
yeah.
like a strip mall where everything is matchy.
Mm.
Well, there's quite a bit between Serena and Lily, and also we've got.
Oh,
rum-
but there's the home goods store that's.
Mattress.
That's a disaster.
But you're not understanding what I'm trying to say, that along that corridor, there's a few buildings that have the similar look to them. And I don't know if that's a good thing. That's my concern.
the building needs to have a crisp look to it.
Right.
And the way to, but it doesn't necessarily mean to have a copy all these other buildings, is what I'm saying, I think, right?
And by having the vertical boards, it wouldn't be a copy of that. Diane, what's your point on this tape? What do you like, what do you don't like? Do you like the old way, do you like the new way?
I think looking at this is confusing.
Yeah, I guess we can't.
I think we shouldn't even look at that. I mean, I think that what they propose to do with the building I think it looks good and will be a big improvement.
Okay. Chip, where are you on that?
And I think, it's so dissimilar there. I mean, with that big, with that shingle shopping center in the middle with all its millions of signs. I mean, it's not like you're seeing
Right.
one building
After the other.
I think it's on the right track. It needs a little tweaking. I mean, I don't want to see the stucco. I want to see boards. I mean, but I have no problem with it otherwise.
So you want us to go back and amend the photorealistic images to show the black trim, a slightly less white vertical wood color.
Mhm.
I guess that's the best way to say it.
That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty
That's
much
it.
it.
Yeah, and make those windows not look so black.
Yeah, right,
Yes,
okay.
yes,
okay.
more
Right,
translucent.
more transparent.
As they actually are.
And we're all good with the flat angle of the new roof, correct?
Yeah,
Because the other one was more of a pitch.
other one's more like a root beer place.
Yeah, like pizza.
Yeah. Taco Bell.
All right, so since we're in this mode, we're feeling like we could, once we get to see that, if we're all in agreement, we could move forward. So we can go ahead because of that and do business signs, just to review that.
What's
Okay.
next?
Because business signs for
What's
that.
next?
Yeah, so we're tabling that.
Yeah. Because my thinking is if we were going to not be moving this forward in this capacity, that we'd wait to do the signage, but I think we're okay to do that. So my agenda is business signs. Item number 4, BMCEH Holdings LLC, tax note number 300-197-1-45, Waynescott Northwest Road in Waynescott. That's Bronze, if you can read into the record.
And again, search out. Well, yeah, I just can't.
I don't even think I have an application.
No, I don't. I
don't
probably do, but this is from my notes. There's a proposed single-sided 1 foot by 20 foot sign, which would be black lettering mounted to the perpendicular sort of roof line facing south, facing the highway. And then there are actually 3 additional signs.
2.
3, my guess.
Well, this is 1, right? You're counting that
This
as
is
1,
1
right?
and 3 more.
And where's the 3 more I see?
1, the other side of this 2.
Oh, does it go like this?
Yes,
All right,
exactly.
Okay,
And
and in the front.
you probably have that on your, there's like a little plan schematic. This, yeah, exactly.
I didn't realize.
It
there
took
was
me a while
another
to
sign.
decipher
Yeah.
this, I have to say. So there are 3 additional freestanding signs. These are single-sided, right?
They're all single sided.
Yes. So they're single-sided, and they are 1 foot 6 inches by 2 feet 8 inches. The one by the highway, by Montauk Highway, would be on 2 4x4 6-foot posts. And then the sort of, not sandwich, what would you call it? Sort of right angle triangulated sign would have the 2 other single-sided, same dimensions, 1 foot 6 inches by 2 foot 8 inches each on 6 foot 4x4 posts. Yes. Even
And
if they
plus
are.
with the big sign up on the.
No, that would be gone. So it's
This
just,
would be gone?
Oh,
No,
yeah,
I'm
sorry.
saying in
Sorry,
addition,
yes, in
you
addition to
have
this.
1, 2,
Yes.
3, plus a very large
Correct.
sign. It
Correct,
doesn't make any sense to me.
yes.
Why not just the one lettering sign on the building, call it a day?
They wanted to get their logo involved.
Oh, I missed something. These are separate
Here.
freestanding signs?
Here, here.
Oh, I see. I missed
think
that.
here,
I missed that.
behind here.
So, and a question, the one that's facing Montauk Highway
Oh, I
just
see. They're
faces
short.
Montauk Highway
You
straight
know-
on?
They painted.
Is that what it would be like, since
It's not
it's
a
single
double
sided?
It's single-sided, yeah. Just
What's there now?
There's the sort of big two
That is
double-sided.
double-sided. So you're going to remove the existing?
Oh, yeah, Mid-Hampton Mall or whatever that is?
No,
No,
no, the
that one as
from-
well.
That was out on the streetscape,
That said property
on the
for sale.
highway, that was for the prior.
There was walls and
Well,
windows.
that'll be removed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
I mean, I think these little signs are just annoying. I mean, if they want to put the logo, figure out a way to.
Do it on
Why
the,
why can't the logo be on the window, the
On the
top
door,
part of the
door.
window, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I
Like
thought it
it.
was cluttered.
right. And I wouldn't want to have on the highway side, the posted sign. And then you have this very large, which I'm not in love with, but if I didn't have the other one, I'd be more willing to accept the larger one on the roof line.
Well, the pin letters are kind of classic. They're easy to read and they're kind of classic looking, but there's too much signage. I mean, that's the problem.
Yeah, and if you look at, it's imitating the Serena and Lily sign, but what I noticed of the Serena and Lily sign, it's sort of off-center. The letters are a little thinner, so it's less obtrusive.
It's a little different business, though. This is.
Yeah.
I understand.
And that's
I know.
home furnishing.
I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm just pointing out how it comes across.
It's a huge improvement to what's there.
Understood, but again, we're gonna have to live with this for the next
Period of time.
long time.
Yeah.
So do you think that they would be willing to forego the posted signs, leave the roof sign and then put their logo on a door or the window?
I'm gonna check with them. I can't speak for them at all.
So we're gonna table this for all those reasons. Okay?
I will
Lori,
take-
do you have any questions before we
No,
leave?
I got it all, and I will take it back to them and try my best to get it on for in 2 weeks.
Do you have anything else on the agenda tonight?
I do not.
Okay, great. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Right, so we're tabling both, right?
Did we actually officially table the historic district one?
I don't know if I actually said it, but it was tabled because she's gonna come back to us. Good night. Good night, thank
Good
you.
night, thanks.
Just wanna make a few notes.
Because anyway, also, it was not said anywhere on the survey where these signs were going, so we would.
I was gonna ask for that because,
Oh, and
The
would you,
application.
Lori, she left her, there was nothing, all the lights are recessed, correct? Yeah, we'll have to make sure when she comes back that we ask her about that.
What, David?
She left the room, so we shouldn't talk about it anymore.
Okay.
Item number 5, Mandala Yoga and Boutique LLC, tax map number 300-172-12-710 Amagansett Square Drive, Unit B in Amagansett. Hi, Will, give us a minute. Diane, if you could read into record what the application was for.
Yes, certainly. This is a very complete application for a total of 3 signs to go on everyone's beloved Mandala Yoga building, Amagansett Square. They measure 20 inches by 17 inches, 23 by 26 inches, 41 by 11 inches. All total, there are less than 10 square feet of signage. They are in place. Can we see?
I think he's working on it.
They're erected, they're in place. There's,
So they're existing already.
they're existing. One hasn't been hung yet. Kyle, there's another. That one is in place and existing. And then as we go around the corner, there's that one. And there's another one that's on the ramp. It hasn't been hung yet, but you can see
So
where
there's
it's going to
4.
be. No, there's 3. The application is for 3 signs.
So we saw.
This one, the one in the front, and then the one on the ramp.
1, 2.
Where's the ramp? Is she-
Right there.
That one?
Okay, all right.
That's the back entrance?
That's the
Off
ramp right there.
Off the ramp
The ramp goes
Yeah.
down the left
on the
side.
left side.
So there's another one.
No, that's the ramp. There's 3 signs.
No. Okay. This is their pictures, right?
These are mock-ups.
These are
These are their pictures.
So what-
I want my pictures. Kyle.
Please.
Yeah, anything that's there was previously approved several years ago.
Okay.
Okay, here.
Here is that
Thank you.
sign in place, my picture.
Mhm.
Okay. There is the sign above the
The-
windows
by the
in
ramp.
place. That's my picture as it is. And this is the sign on the ramp that has to be yet installed on the wall above it. This is the back door, which only has these, informational signs and a place to take a pamphlet.
So I'm confused then because the mock-ups have nothing to do with.
The mock-ups are, what your pictures you've just seen are what exists today.
Okay, why don't we do this? Will, hi, how are you?
Good.
Why don't you introduce yourself to the board and watching?
Will McLear, motion graphics.
Great.
I will.
Will walk us through
Sure.
what's what, okay? Let's start with is this the front with the large,
Front has well, they kind of changed the entrance now, because what happened was it was one big studio, and now they're sharing a space with Jenny Kane.
okay,
That's why
so
we're revisiting the sign.
now is that the front door?
That's the front door that faces the square.
Mm-hmm,
The
okay,
primary entrance is the back where the
okay,
stairs are.
but this is basically the
And
front.
on the door, it says to go around the corner for the entrance.
And what's there now is just a banner that she temporarily tacked in there on permanent signage. What's there will be a PVC board that looks in like kind, but
Which is this one
That
here.
will look like this.
yeah.
So 23 by 26
Yes.
square,
Yeah.
okay. All right, so that's first, and then the next photograph is by the ramp that's existing,
Above the window, sign above
which is the
window.
11 by 41.
Yeah, that's the one that's there now. That's the old sign that we had done, probably 6 years ago now.
Okay, so the one that's on the ground is going to replace that one?
No, the one that's on the ground is their old sign as well.
This is an
Everything
old
that's there is
sign.
Going in the garbage, yeah.
This is leaving.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So why?
That's why
Oh.
that's
Why
why
we're
I
looking
was
at it, yeah.
confused by the
I'm
mock-ups.
still confused.
Yeah, 'cause they haven't changed the location. They just downscaled. And the property management companies wanting them to change the signage to be less colorful for all the tenants. So they're doing this new branding.
Interesting.
Oh, it's so nice.
It's a bland branding.
Yeah, they want everything to just be pretty much black and white in there. That's the new.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, well.
you've shown us these nice color swatches of these various blues.
Which
Which
is
are the
the
lettering.
lettering.
Okay, so.
All right, and then the next photo, which is the back entry, but it's their front entry, but it's their back. And then that's going to have a smaller 17 by 20 inch square.
Correct. I believe it's under the lamp.
And so there's only 3 spots.
Okay,
We're all good?
all right. Yes, I think we're fine.
Anybody have any questions for Will or Diane? And they in total square feet?
Less than 10 square
Less
feet.
than 10, right, which is on the,
Well, I must say, your old signs have held up very well and they look very good.
I like the blue
You should just put
background
them inside.
signs.
Yeah, right.
And I'm
She
sure
will,
the new
probably, yeah.
signs will
Yeah.
look.
That little
Looks
splash of
absolutely
blue is the
fine.
compromise with the black and white. So we'll get a little bit in.
All right.
Okay, well, thank you for that clarification, Will. And unless anybody else has anything to say, I'd like to make a motion that we accept this application as presented.
Can I get a second, Esperanza?
Second.
All in favor, Chip
Yes.
and Jonathan?
Yes.
And Betsy, yes. Great. Thanks, Will.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good one.
Enjoy the rest of your summer.
You too.
Thank you. Item 6 on the agenda, East End Naturals Tax Map Number 300-197-2-10.1345 Montauk Highway in Waynescott. Is anyone here for the applicant? That would be, where is his name? Will Smith? Yeah, there it is. Will Smith is on this.
Yes, William Smith. Okay.
Okay.
So this is an application for an additional sign that says crystals,
Oh, this again.
which would measure 36 or 10 by 36 inches. A double-sided sign. It hangs off of the existing directional sign for this business, which is East End Naturals.
Will, can you pull up their submit with all the little decals on it? It's like a one page and it has everybody on it.
So the last time that we reviewed this, the question was because this business had additional decals that had not been approved by us, I believe. We wanted to know exactly what the total square footage of signage that they already have there is. So in fact, I would think that we would be doing sort of, it's more of an application for some of all of these, you know? Like this part is additional.
Do we
Right.
want to table this from the
Since
fear?
he's not here.
Well, wait a minute, before, my understanding is that he did a inventory of what he has on his windows and in addition to his crystal signage on the front directional sign, right?
Yeah.
And in total, all of these come to,
It's 34.22 square feet, 34 square feet.
I have 31.72.
Well, 29 plus 5.
It's 34.
Just 34, okay, I don't know where I missed that, all right.
I recommend that we table it so we can talk to him about it and, have him, explain what signage is actually there. And for anybody watching,
We could have asked Will, because he did all these decals.
we did respond to his, the sign, the flag that was out there. We received, a mail to the ARB. That he had the CBD flag above the directory in the Waynescott, and code enforcement went out and looked and the flag wasn't there. They spoke to him and they informed him that wasn't approved and wasn't part of the signage. So, if it comes back, they'll deal with that then.
Yeah, that flag was, even though we had told him
All right.
that was not.
I have one question. All of these total 29, plus his crystal comes to 31 and a half.
No, it's two-sided.
Oh, I see, okay.
Sorry, that's why I put
Yep. So you want to table this,
That's
correct?
my recommendation.
All right, anybody have any questions before we table this?
There's just too many signs.
Well, it is.
Well, that was the question, because his original resolution before, make it short, was not for all of these
No, but
decals.
when you drive by, there's just too many signs.
Agreed, and so that's why we asked to get the tally.
And now that we know that he's over by 2 square feet, he can lose one or so. Or we could ask him to tighten it up more and lose more. We don't have to grant the whole 32 square
Correct.
feet. So, okay, so this is tabled. So we, on our printed agenda, it's not listed, but we've added as number 7, Anthony Amarato, 16 Cedar Ridge Drive, tax map number 300-95-5-7. Is Anthony here? No? Okay, what happened with this was the application, Jonathan, can we read the full application into the record, please?
I actually don't have the application because it,
Sure.
Is it possible, is that a consideration, because this is here that we.
Sure.
Yeah, that's.
I have one more, but that's fine, because he's not here anywhere. Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
Do I need to rescind that?
Yes.
I need to rescind tax map number 300-95-5-7. So I'm going to jump to the next item under fences, walls, and berms which is Louis Escadon and Fanny Alvier. Tax map number 300-101-1-9, 8 Cedar Street. You want to come up, Fanny? Great, thank you.
How do you bring up the photos?
Yes.
Hi, Fanny.
I'm sorry, I'm coming with my baby.
That's okay.
okay.
We like babies. She's like, no, I'm not a baby. I'm a big girl, right? Okay.
Yes.
Hi, Fanny. All right, Chip, do you want to read into the record what this is for, please?
This application has been before us before, and this is the Cedar Street. There's a cul-de-sac off Harrison Avenue off Springs Fireplace Road. There are about a dozen houses on this cul-de-sac. The applicant seeks to install a pair of 5-foot-high, 12 feet wide mahogany gates that would be 21 feet off the road. On either side of the proposed gates is a 6-foot-high deer fence and 8-foot-high metal poles. There are no other gates in this cul-de-sac. Applicant seeks to keep out the deer. There is one 6-inch by 6-inch. There's one 6-inch by 6-inch and a 6-foot-high plain post already installed on the left side of their driveway. There's none on the right. This is a picture of the gate that they're proposing. It's mahogany. It would be 5 feet tall and it would be 12 feet wide. This is just a rendering. It has nothing to do with their particular site. All things considered, the proposed gate at 5 foot high with 5-foot-high posts would probably be okay. The deer fencing at 6 feet high on either side of the gate, and much of it's woven into the woods, is probably okay, but the metal posts need to be cut down to 6 feet.
How tall are the metal posts?
8 feet. 8 feet. So this is the driveway, and this is the post that they've already put in is on the left. You can see it. It's a treated 6-inch, 6-foot-high post. The other one would be on the right, and this gate would be between them.
So the post, is that holding up does the fencing go to that post?
The post is put in anticipation of being the post for the gate.
But would we keep the posts at 6 and have the fencing attached to it?
No, I would cut. Oh, no, the fencing isn't really attached to it. They pull this deer fencing across the driveway at night.
Oh, I see.
Fanny, that post went in for the
Yes,
gate,
it's for
right?
the gate, yes.
So it's just, they're giving us a hint of what's to come.
But if the gate's mahogany, you're gonna keep this pressure treated, what is it, a 4x4? 6x6?
Gonna paint it, are you gonna paint it? Or,
No,
no,
It'll weather eventually. I mean,
not really. Not when it's treated like that.
I'm concerned about the 12-foot width.
Yeah, the width of the gate. I was just going to ask about that, yeah.
why?
Because it's too
Not wide-
narrow.
Not wide enough.
You can't, they like the minimum 14 feet to get an emergency vehicle in there.
I can do it 14 feet.
You can widen it out? Okay. So you didn't put a cement footing in there yet?
It's cemented in. It's,
Yes.
So
they can put it on the other side. There's some land on the right behind that bush.
So leave that one there and then just
They want
extend it
to.
over. So what's your take on this?
What I said, I think a 5-foot-high gate with 5-foot-high posts and let them have the 6-foot-high deer fence, which is woven into that shrubbery. Cut those deer fence poles down to 6 feet from 8 feet.
Right, and then it's 20 feet from the roadway?
Yeah, 21 feet from the road.
What about the rest of the neighborhood?
It's similar houses. Someone has a immense set of stone piers a couple houses away, no gates, but they're like 5 to 6 stone piers. The rest of it is no piers.
And it's a cul-de-sac.
It's a very private little cul-de-sac. It is a public road because there's a turnaround for a fire truck.
Fanny, can I ask you a question? I'm just curious why you went to a dark brown mahogany gate when your home is very light and bright.
If you want, I put white, the color. I don't know, just give it to my husband and that the color in my home, in my country, in the same this, and I like because I have the same home, the same door, and everything. Just I like that.
Okay.
The word.
So you prefer it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's very woodsy in there.
Uh-huh.
I think I prefer the dark to the white.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Jonathan?
Right now,
Color is white.
is that the drawing of the fence? the gate?
It's a picture they took out of something else.
Oh, I see.
But that's what it would look like.
So Benny, the post would have to be these posts at 5 feet tall, and the gate would have to be 5 feet tall, and it can be
Off the ground.
5 feet total, and then 14 feet wide.
Okay,
So fire trucks can get in.
okay, okay. I understand. Yeah.
And it's a manual gate, yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's manual, yes.
Right, and did you say again about the posts being cut from 8 feet to 6 feet to match the
Yeah,
deer
and then the
fencing?
posts on the deer fence have to be cut down 2 feet.
Yeah, I told my husband,
Right.
he could, it's okay.
Yeah, okay.
I
Because we
think
can't
it's
approve
fine.
anything over 6 feet on the.
I
right-of-way.
understand. Yeah, we buy this one, I think it's 6 feet.
Yeah,
My
and then he can
husband
cut it.
could re- Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I make a motion that we,
Sorry, before, so that mahogany gate is actually gonna be cut down from 6 feet to 5 feet?
No, that's just a design.
Oh, I remember you were buying it.
No, yeah, the other one I buy and I return.
Exactly.
that was an
Yes.
iron gate.
Right,
The other-
so this is a whole different gate.
It's different.
Okay.
So I make a recommendation that we approve this application with the stipulation that the gate be 5 feet tall and no higher, the post be 5 feet tall and no higher, the gate be 14 feet wide. The deer fencing can stay at 6 feet, and the deer fencing poles have to be cut down to 6 feet.
Okay, okay. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ben.
All right, can I get a second on that, Esperanza?
Thanks.
I second the baby.
Okay.
I second.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and Jonathan?
Aye.
And Betsy, aye. Okay, nice. So now I'm going to jump back to Anthony Amarato, tax map number 300-95-5-7, 16 Cedar Ridge Drive in East Hampton. Let me just explain why this is back on. Anthony was on the agenda our last meeting on July 22nd, and Jonathan had the assignment. But Jonathan, Betsy, Esperanza, Diane, Chip, we all failed to either see the fencing next to the gate, and it was also listed on the application.
This was at the last meeting?
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
You weren't there, so you get a pass. So basically what we did is we approved the gate, which was existing, but we asked him to reduce it, which he already had, and to remove every other board, which he did. But when Nora was doing the resolution, she was like, wow, this doesn't make sense. There's nothing about the fencing, and the fencing was on the application. So good call on Nora's part. So I spoke with Anthony. Jonathan went up. Let's show Jonathan's pictures. Jonathan went up to take some pictures and measure the fencing. So basically what we did is we didn't do the resolution. We're just gonna, re-vote. So I'm gonna rescind that motion once we go through all this.
This is the old, this is the new fence, new gate.
That's much nicer.
So that's the improvement.
Right, so you remember what the other one looked like?
It was just before this one. Anyway, so there's a double panel at the bottom, which is nice. And that the others, everything is, I measured it out. There's the same number of either openings or planks as there was before. So it figures out.
And what is the exact height of the posts? What's the tallest point of that from grade, just for our resolution?
It's 5 feet.
It's total 5 feet, okay.
The post and the gate?
No, the
Yeah.
posts are a little bit higher.
Closer another inch.
With
We'll
the
just say
cap.
no higher than 5 feet, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, and I just want to mention that when I spoke with Anthony, who's a really nice gentleman, he said he is in so much love with his new gate.
Oh.
He said that opening it up and bringing it down, you get to see his house. It just feels more friendly to him. And he said the paint is beautiful, and he was just very appreciative of the
The
board.
paint is not, everything
Yeah.
is painted here. It's
Right.
nice.
And then there's some deer fencing that's tucked in the
hedges.
the hedges.
That's
And
why we
what's
can't
that
see
height?
it. That is all 6 feet. There's a 6-foot deer fence on all 4 sides of the house,
All right,
all 4.
so
And
not stockade. I thought there was some.
There's
stuff.
some, excuse me, deer and stockade.
It's the arcade in the back on the side.
It's a little mix and match here and there.
All right,
Yeah,
so.
I have
what-
other photographs showing some of that. We need that.
No, because by 6 feet is by right. So basically what we're going to do is is the board in agreement to leave the 6-foot deer fencing along the front of the road?
There's, yeah.
Yes,
So it's totally enclosed.
it's very woodsy. You don't even see this deer fence.
6 feet.
Yeah, but 6 feet by right in the back on the two sides in the back.
So it's primarily stockade all
In
around
the
the rest.
On the sides and further back. Yes.
Yeah, there's stockade in the back, yeah. But there was also some deer fence in places, but
It's possible where it's, you know,
I think in the way back there is.
well, gentlemen, you both have been up there, obviously, so are we okay with this?
yeah, this is great.
Okay. I'm going to make a motion to rescind the vote from the July 22nd meeting where we approved the 5-foot gate. Can I get a second on that, Jonathan?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So Jonathan, if you'll go ahead and make a motion, new motion.
I move that we approve a 5-foot gate that exists and with the stipulation that every other horizontal panel is removed, leaving an open space with the top rail and the bottom rail remaining in place. And everything has been 5 foot total off the ground. We also approved the existing deer fence and stockade fencing that is 6 feet on the 3 sides of the house, and additionally a 6-foot deer fence on the front side of the house, which is interwoven in the shrubbery.
Great. Can I get a second on that, Esperanza?
Second.
All in favor, Chip?
Yes.
Diane?
No.
That's a yes. Okay, thank you. Now I'm going to go to number 9, which is D. Bogliani, tax map number 300-1919-2-7.1, 39 Springy Banks Road, East Hampton. And this is Jonathan.
Yeah, I have that right here.
You're here? You wanna-
Yes. Hi.
Hello.
Are you Dee?
Yes.
Okay, Jonathan, if you can read into the record what this is for.
The words proposed structure is called deer fencing. And that's it. So I presume deer fencing on how many sides of the house?
Well, it's really only proposed on the front 3 sides. So,
The front 3 sides?
yeah, so if, we sent some PDFs, so there's a survey.
Yeah, I couldn't read the survey relating to the fence, except that it looked like the yellow part
Yes.
was the new.
That's what it was.
So it's along Springbanks Road,
Mhm.
and then in some number of feet
Yep,
on Hunting Road, and in the
Mhm.
same number of feet. Was it 79 or something like that?
yeah, on Hunting
76.
Road, it goes about 75 feet in, and then on the,
Property line.
yeah, on the property line, it goes, on the north side about 73 feet.
So that will only be deer fencing and not stockade.
Well, on the north side, there's already existing deer fence, so we're just trying to match the existing deer fence.
Let me ask you,
And there is some-
excuse me, let's back up. Okay, so let's talk about what's there now, Jonathan. Can you tell me what the height of those posts are that run along Springy Bank and the height of that green fencing?
Well, they're over 6 feet.
There's a code violation on
Yeah,
this.
there is definitely, yeah.
They're, because I don't know why they started installing these posts.
Who's they? Is this not your property?
Well, it's my partner's, it's mine and my partner's, and I don't know why his name's not listed, but in the application, Daniel Rovira is listed on the application. So he had the landscaper start installing this. And then I'm like, what are you doing? And then let's start with the application process.
Well, I appreciate that. Okay.
So we're just starting with the deer fencing because we eventually want to add some greenery and then like a lower fence and then the gate and everything else. But right now the deer have become an issue with the dog and, you know.
What's the height of that mesh?
The mesh is at 6 feet right now.
Okay, so those posts have to be 10 feet.
They're close to it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they are, but yeah, it's an eyesore and we've been living with it for a long time. But
Right.
the guy sent us a notice saying like, almost like a cease and desist type of thing. So we didn't do any more. We just stopped entirely.
Okay, but in the back, on the other property line, it's all deer fence, all stockade, and it's falling
No, there's-
apart
there's-
and so
there's
forth.
There's a photograph that shows that there's an existing deer fence.
Is that on Hunting or is that on your other side of your property?
It's on the north side and it's,
The other
it
side.
abuts this is, yeah, that's Springy Banks. That's Springy Banks, and I think
So-
it's the last page. Keep
So does
going.
that wrap around?
Keep going. One more, the last page, keep going. That there.
That
So
one.
that's the existing deer fencing.
On the north side, correct?
Yeah, that's by the preserved land.
And
And so we're just trying to match this fencing for now.
And what's the height of that?
This is 6 feet.
So is that like professionally installed? It looks pretty serious.
This was installed, I have no idea, but prior to us
So
purchasing the house.
it's 4x4 posts and a top,
Yes.
and then the wire sits down.
Yes, it's 4x4 posts and I think it's 2x4s that go
Across the
across.
top, yeah.
And then it's a wire mesh, you know,
This is what you're proposing for the
yes,
for that?
yes.
And then it also then goes down Hunting Road, what you're proposing as well? What's there now?
It's only going down Hunting Road about 75 feet.
Do we have a picture of that?
Because on Hunting Road, that's Hunting Road, yes. That's the southeast corner.
And then further down Hunting Road, what happens?
There's an existing stockade fence, which will eventually come down, but over there, we didn't propose any deer fence yet because we want to put baits in and we want to,
You know, you need ARB approval for anything over
Of
4
course.
feet.
of course, yes, and we want to put a nice fence that we don't know.
So this is-
So this, we've talked about this property before. This is on, right off of
Yeah.
3 Mile Harbor.
Yeah.
And this mesh fence is right on the corner. I've
Yes.
driven by it many times.
Yes.
This stuff, yeah, it's been there for years.
And it's coming down, the mesh?
Well, the mesh is going to come down because we want to replace it just with that
Deer fence.
wire.
Got it, okay, got it.
The wire that you've shown
Yeah.
with all the.
There used to be a wire fence,
How big is this?
that was more like cutting
How big is
the
your-
property line.
How big is your property?
It's about half an acre.
It's a corner lot.
I'll tell you what my concern is putting 6 foot around an entire corner lot. And, you know, almost to the property line. It's too much for that area. It's 6 foot fence is not going to keep the deer out. It's just way too much.
It seems to be working in,
But what I'm saying, you're like right up to the front of your property line. If it was since you're gonna have to redo it anyway. If you were to move it back or considering moving it back, so it wasn't so much, you know, in your face when you're coming out of the road that brings you on to Springy Banks.
I say generally, deer fencing is known as a light mesh that goes long, separated by a little 1.25 inch diameter plastic pipe that goes down that's black, metal pipe that's black, and everything can be at whatever height, 6 feet or whatever it is, whatever height is appropriate for the spot. and you don't really, it sort of goes away. This is really an aggressive fence, and to have it on the road and around the corner, it just,
It's overly fenced. So this looks like a barnyard scene to me.
that's a neighbor house, right?
So this fence is
Yeah,
very
well,
serious fence. I mean,
The roof, that line that you see is the neighbor's.
Yeah.
and Your house is the Dutch camp on the left.
That's the barn, that's our barn.
It's a barn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you suffer from just too much fencing.
It's an aggressive fence, and it seemed to me that it'd be,
I mean, I would, tend to lean towards that because it has the,
2x4.
Yeah.
across the top. I've never seen a deer fence set up like that.
I mean, that'll last forever, but it's very visible also.
And, it's been, you notice it, I notice it every time I drive past it, which is a lot, because I live out there.
You come up some Kites Road and it's right there.
Yeah. And so this is gonna be, I have the same feeling of that as what I saw even before the mesh went in. There were all these posts. So it's an aggressive situation. It looked to me, I always thought it was just a construction fence that was there until you did something. I didn't realize it was a plan for a fence. But, I mean,
Well,
that's the feeling I got.
Right. Let me just point a couple things out. The way that your property is, because you're on a corner lot, let me just say this, you can have 4 feet and you don't even need to be here. Anything over 4 feet along Springy Banks, and also, well, it's a private road. Does that still?
That still holds true.
Along Hunting can't be more than 6 feet, but you need ARB approval from anything from 4 to 6. In the back, behind the plane of your house on the north side and along the back by right, you're allowed to have 6 feet. So that area back here, the north, and I guess that would be what's the back west? Yeah, the west side. Whatever you have there that's 6 feet, you're allowed that. So what we're only concerned about is on the north side from the front plane of your house to Springy Banks and back and all the way down on Hunting Road. Because it's a very large piece of property. It's very right on the roadway almost. There's some pictures in here. I don't know, Kyle, can you pick up
Kyle stepped out.
No, he's here.
Oh, sorry.
He just came back.
Kyle, there's this one photo that's from the southeast corner. I just want to show that. This is down Hunting Road. That one right there. That was fast. And do you see how far close to the stop sign it is? It's just not
This
right.
is the green, that's that green mesh too.
Yes, but
so
when you
it
have-
darkens.
But when you have that structure with the top, again, that was to Jonathan's point. If you wanted to do technically deer fencing, it sort of recedes back.
Yeah.
It's not so looking like a garden fence,
Right.
basically.
Well, we don't have to do that top, 2x4 to match the existing deer fence, but it would just be nice to keep the deer out, off the property, because there's just, they just, that's my front yard now, and then the side is where, the vehicles come in and
And you have a
a lot
backyard,
of activity.
and you have a backyard.
And the dog, we want him with us, but I'm always fearful that he's gonna be picking up these. And I get him just from going into the garden, so, we might do something to just figure out. So I don't know what you guys.
Well,
You're gonna say this here on the road. is
Yeah,
what they're gonna do.
well, deer are gonna jump a 6-foot fence if they want to, and we can't approve anything higher than 6. So to just have a 6-foot fence there on that corner lot, right on your property line is just, I don't think it's right for the neighborhood. I think it's very unfriendly. If you were to, we can table this and you can go back to your partner and discuss possibly bringing it back further in.
How far?
Well, that's something you can, think about. I don't know what your topography there is and your landscaping, that maybe, figure out, based on your accessory buildings and everything else that's here. It's hard for me to read
Yeah,
this.
and how you use.
And how you use it, to come back with a better plan. to tight, to make this less visible from the roadway.
I think less is more in your case. I've seen this fence for years and I'm just astonished at it. This mesh fence is so unfriendly.
Well, it's a temporary thing and
But it's been there as long as I've been going to Daymarks. It's there all the time.
and if you remember what the property looked like before, it was, more of a commercial.
I don't remember that, but I mean, you got to come up with a
What
lighter.
do you mean, like
lighter, less
somebody
fence.
had a business operating
Yeah,
out
there
of
was a
it?
lot of industrial equipment that was scattered, like
There was a lot of stuff there, yeah.
a lot of, power,
Right. Dee, I think what you're hearing for the board is, what you're asking for is we're not willing to approve that tonight. So if you would go back and come and remark the survey based on where you can put it. You've got a pool over here, so it's just.
well, which is another thing that we're battling with because we have a huge tree that we don't want to take down. And, it's right sitting smack dab where the pool is slated. So, we're trying to honor the property, maintain the trees and work with what we've got. But, we also want to make the critters,
Well, here's the thing, we all live with critters. Everybody that comes before this board, and first of all, I want to thank you for coming. I mean, you came not willingly, you came because you got a code violation. But at least you're here, and we appreciate that because most people don't, and it's a problem. And all these fencing and gates and everything else going up, and we didn't even discuss gates. So I think we would need to see what type of gate you're looking to use and seriously reconsider this. We're not in a position to design it for you, nor are we in a position to approve it tonight.
so just help me to understand, because I'm going to walk away from this meeting and I'm not going to have a clear direction.
You can always watch this on LTV, they replay it, just go to
On
video.
No, but I understand that, and I can rewatch this 5 times and still won't have clear direction. How far back
Welcome
am
to
I
my world.
supposed to,
No,
how far back am I supposed to pull this fence in order for it?
as far as you can, as far as.
Is the concern that people going around the corner are not going to be able to have?
It's just really too close to the road. It's right on your property line. There's not that big of an easement, and it's too big of a structure.
So are we talking about 5 feet back? Or are we talking about?
You need to, again, I can't design this for you.
I
You
think
need to
the concern is that it
figure out
looms on the
based
property line.
topography and what trees.
It looms the way that it's right on the border of the property line. So it looms and it's very imposing.
Yeah, so we can,
You're looking at something that's opaque, and then you're going to be looking at something that you could actually see through.
I'm just telling you what the concern is, as I understand it. So I feel like if
We understand that. We understand, and that is also something that
Yeah.
we think is very visible
I
to,
think it's in the 10 to 20 foot range, if you want to know.
I'm sorry?
More than 5 and
Yeah,
closer to 10 to 20.
10 to 20. Wow, okay.
and it's based on your
Right.
trees and what you have in there because we can't see through it. Jonathan, I'm sure you analyze it, but again,
Yeah.
it's not our responsibility to design. We can only guide you where we're feeling that we could get somewhere with you,
Uh-huh.
but this is not going to fly the way it is today.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Our next meeting is the 26th, so if you can have something back before next Thursday at noon, we can put you back on the agenda.
I'll make a suggestion, but.
Well, the problem is if you,
Landscaping and some more.
yeah, well, landscaping always helps too, so come back with a plan,
Okay.
okay, that we can visualize
and bring him.
and bring them.
Yeah, I
Tell me
wish I
less than
could,
me.
but. I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Okay, all right, thank you.
so much.
Okay, good luck.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm tabling that. Okay. Jeffrey Maslow, tax map number 300-87-1-2.1, I'm sorry, -21, 201 Old Montauk Highway in Montauk. And this has been asked to be adjourned until sometime in September. So I'm going to go to item number 10, Brian Driscoll, tax map number 300-172-8-11, Miancoma Lane in Amagansett. Is there anyone here for, are you Brian?
No, I'm Rich Berber.
Hi, Rich, how are you?
Hi
How are you?
Come on up to the podium.
Thought you guys have your meetings early. When I was chairman, they were always at 7 o'clock at night.
Oh, my gosh.
Were you chairman of the ARB?
Oh, for a long time when it first started.
What year?
Oh, God, I don't remember back in the 70s or something.
Wow.
A long time ago.
It must have not lasted as long.
Right, because they probably didn't have as much going on. Well, you certainly don't. look like
Well,
you could have been, you
In
know,
our
back in the
time, that's when all the fencing came in and all the sidewalks and stuff like that. So I brought these, I unfortunately have the copies for everybody.
We can share.
So Diane, why don't
Yeah.
you read into the record what this is for?
Okay. This is an.
I guess you went to the house yesterday, Diane, because I understand the neighbor came out. You were
Yes,
visiting or
very
something?
nice, very nice neighborhood, very, very nice. This is an application for us to approve an existing for some time, I would think.
Yeah, unfortunately, what happened is he hired a contractor quite a few years ago to put it in, and he was supposed to get a building permit, do everything. He didn't do anything except put the gates up.
Well,
So
he put in a gate that, on pillars that are 7 feet high, and the gate itself ranges from being, I think, 5'8" at the lowest point to 7 feet at the end. Now, from what this is one of the beautiful lanes of Amagansett.
Right.
Still has open lawns, split rail fences. It's not variegated. Now, your very nice neighbor told me that you never close the gates.
No, he closes it all the time. Right now, the operator is not working.
Oh, well, he said to me,
No, I
he
actually-
said, do they really have a gate? I never even noticed.
No, I took pictures on Meeting House Lane and hedges of all of the existing gates in the whole neighborhood.
I took pictures too of the existing neighborhood, and I'm telling you, when you stand in your driveway, all around you, there are no other gates, there are no fences, there are open driveways and open lawns.
Well, we've got a big,
And in your
wait.
immediate neighborhood.
Excuse me for 1 second. Just because there are gates that you took pictures of does not mean that they have ARB approval. Most of
oh,
them,
I'm sure.
I would probably say 99.9%, anything over 6 foot
Right.
does not.
Yeah, no, my clients did a big renovation on that house, and that's where this whole thing kind of came to fruition, because they were renovating the house, and the building inspector noticed that there wasn't never an application filed for the gates when they installed
Okay,
it.
well, anyway, immediately, your neighbors, there are open lawns and things. So obviously, we are not going to approve this gate that is at its high as 7 feet. And it looks to me, I mean, if you took 2 feet off of the solid bottom of the gate.
How wide are the posts? They look like 12 inches, 18, what are they?
Yeah, the dimensions are on the original
Yeah, there
application.
are dimensions.
It wasn't in the photos, it was on the original application.
There's lots of dimensions.
Oh, it's down on the
It's the
bottom. It's 12,
keypad.
it's 12 square.
Right.
The keypad is quite close to the roadway, as you can see.
Is that on your property, the keypad, Rich?
Yes. What we did is I measured, because I know there was a concern from the building inspector about emergency vehicles and things like that. So, and the owner 2 years ago, his niece had an episode where they had to get an ambulance or police car in the driveway, they had no problems.
But that's not a fire truck.
Right.
You wanted to see the survey? Can we pull it up?
Anyway, here we are with this gate that we will not approve at this height. And I think, and if you just took the picket off of it, it would make it sort of a short wall. We don't like
We
that.
don't want to make it too short, because we've had deer in the property. He's got a huge investment in landscaping
Yeah,
material.
I noticed the entire property, this is another property that is entirely enclosed in thick hedgerow with a 4-foot high wire fence where I could see. There's a 4-foot high wire fence enclosed in the hedgerow, but it's
In the front.
in the front and from what I could see on the side. It's a totally enclosed, another totally enclosed property with a 2-high gate.
So before we go into designing the gate, okay, I just want to say this. Can we pull up the survey?
I don't see it in here.
The survey we're looking at, the call box is off the property line. It's in the easement or the right of way. See, call box right there. And the fencing along the front is also off the property line. There looks like there's two lines of fencing. You have one probably on the property line and then another one in front of it. So I don't, what's the heights of those? Did you say 4 feet?
Well, the one that's the most apparent, there could be another one buried.
Right,
The
which might
hedgerow
be
is
here.
very thin. The obvious fence is 4 feet, the wire
Okay.
fence, but the hedgerow is, is substantial.
All right, so I want to just mention two things before we move on, okay? This fencing that's off the property has to be removed.
Which fencing is it?
You have fencing along your property line and then there's another,
Oh, the wire fence,
The
yeah,
wire-
'cause
that
the
has-
deer were coming through.
well, you have one on your property, but you can't have anything that's not on your property. The call box has to be moved onto your property, okay?
Yeah, we have to, like I said, the whole mechanism has to get redone.
All right, all right.
I was under the understanding that was just olives that were too large.
Good. Okay, so since you are so familiar, Brian, or Richard, rather, excuse me, since you are so familiar with our procedures here, what do you propose to do about this gate?
Well, I'd like to be able to, there was a couple of issues, Diane. One is for like the distance and everything else. To move it like a foot or so, you're asking my client to spend, $35,000 or $40,000 to redo the whole thing, which is a little crazy. So, I mean, we're willing to, the poster, the existing poster rotted right now. I'd be willing to drop those down. But I mean, I can't make that gate too short. Like I said, we've had a few deer breaches and they've done a lot of
Well,
damage.
It's code. We can't approve anything over 6 feet.
So if we bring the gate to 6 feet, that's acceptable?
I don't think so.
What if they made it more opaque?
You mean translucent?
Yes, or, yeah, sorry, open.
Open?
That's the word I was going for.
Well, thank you,
Then we
David.
could just
David,
take some.
come on in.
Yeah, 'cause then we
If
could just
he
take
were
them
to
off the
take
bottom.
everything, every other
Alternating
board on
boards
the.
On the bottom?
He's got to cut the bottom, he's got to
At
cut the
6
bottom
feet
off
still?
too.
I think it would compromise the gate tremendously
Structurally.
if you take those bottom boards off.
Why don't we do this, okay? Why don't we table this and have you go back and work with your client and tell them that we can't approve anything up to over 6 feet?
And we don't want to even approve it.
And some of the board members would be reluctant to do it based on where the house is located. And the other issue is that if you're planning to redo the posts, what those posts are going to look like and what you're going to do for the gate. And if you wanted to drop it to 4 feet, cut all this off and just keep this, you don't have to come back to us. Is that about 4 feet here? Would you say?
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, you could approve it at 6, right? I don't want the deer going over the fence.
We have the authority to approve up to 6, but that doesn't mean we will approve on your
Even
plan.
with all those other existing ones that are throughout the tables there.
It's not, it's not.
Probably not
Existing
approved.
ones, you have 8-foot gates here that we wouldn't have approved.
Oh, really? None of those are approved?
These all on the same street?
No.
When I
They're
left,
down, some are down on
I
bluff.
could
they're all in the
show
lane.
my pictures.
Well, the lanes are all different. I mean,
Right, well, you have, there on Myacoma, the one next door is east is me.
Well, he actually he shows some nice skates, so let's go through his pictures and then we'll do yours, okay? Let's just-
But why are we looking at his pictures of gates?
Because I want to show, no, because there's a reason why. Oh, wait, did you submit this to
Yes.
us for the digital file, or did you just
No,
want that to us?
no, we didn't.
this is a walk-up.
Well, let me explain, Diana, just don't get upset.
Look,
Okay.
what about Diane's photo?
I will, in 1 second, please, okay? So what he showed us is no gate, just pillars, right? Somebody putting up a gate.
There's construction.
Right, okay. This gate he showed, this, which is lovely, right? This is not
We
so
all have
bad
the
except for
dimensions on it.
that. This is too big, we would have never approved that, and I know where this is, and we wouldn't have approved that, nor would we approve that.
Approve that.
And that's a cute little fence. So he showed a cute
It's
couple.
fine.
All right, so Kyle, so this is my, that's the front of my car, is that my car? Yes, yes. Okay, this is what you see when you stand in your driveway. Kyle, if you can move these pictures, you see open lawns. Okay, you move the next
Plus
pictures. I
these
think I
lanes
have
are
three
so
of those.
narrow.
Sorry, Zach.
That's just.
Okay, that's
pillars.
across the street. There's no gate.
These four. They're here.
That's it?
Anyway, this is when you're standing, this is what you see. You do not see gates. All these gates that you took pictures of are not in your immediate neighborhood. In your immediate
Or the
neighborhood.
next street over.
Doesn't
I
matter.
don't
We're talking
care.
about your neighborhood, Richard.
Yeah, you know,
Well,
we
there's a couple
are
going.
trying so hard.
Richard, we didn't approve them.
Okay.
Okay, so when we're dealing with your situation in your immediate neighborhood, okay?
And we are trying really hard to keep some sense of the character of East Hampton
Of the
town.
lanes, yeah.
And particularly these lanes in Amagansett. And, you know, so we are doing everything in our power to dissuade people from closing themselves off from the neighborhood and just totally destroying the whole character.
Well, I think they're looking to protect their property, Diane. I don't think it's an idea of closing them up from the
Well,
neighborhood.
we're making them aware of that.
People walk up to the gate, look over the gates. at the
We're,
property.
Richard, we're making them aware that they're not considering how this affects the neighborhood and the character of the neighborhood. And that's what that's the.
You guys don't review the houses.
Okay, so you're here to get this
We
thing
don't.
approved and we don't approve it.
And I think it should be shorter than 6 feet.
Low,
Yeah, I do too.
lower.
Why don't we table it?
So we're gonna table this. You can come back to us with a drawing that's below 6 feet. And you could also, in the meantime, give us an idea of what the new posts would be and what the width of they would be. And also, you're going to have to remove the things that aren't on your property.
The wire fence and the oil control have to be moved in a little bit. Okay.
You know, when I'm looking at this, and I just want to point this out, if you were to move, you know, you're saying about the deer, I'm sorry, what's the height of these fences? You said this is all tucked in, it's about 4 feet.
4 foot
All
wire.
right, never mind.
So we
Okay.
did a double fence because the deer were coming through the privet and into the yard.
All right, that's what I needed to know. That doesn't belong to- So we're gonna table this, all right? And our next meeting is the 26th. If you want to be on it in 2 weeks, you have to have everything in before noon on Thursday
Okay.
of this
I
coming,
mean, obviously, we need the finishes and everything else, right? Everything will probably stay.
Yes.
So, okay.
all right? And
All
if
right,
you,
great.
you know, and then the following meeting is, I think, the 9th of September.
Yes.
Okay, 26th of August and the 9th of
Yeah.
September.
Okay, thanks, Richard.
Great, thank you.
Have a nice evening. This is Eastern Gales. Are you Peter?
No,
I'm sorry?
my name's Glenn Dragwell.
Yeah, please do.
My name's Glenn Hyden. I built the house at 52 Bluff Road.
Let me read it into the record.
Sure.
All right, let me just put your name, say your name is Glenn.
Glenn Hyden, HEIDMANN.
All right, this is tax map number 300-172-4-18252 Bluff Road in Amagansett. And let me just read into the record what this is for. This was an application that came before us in January of 2016, which was actually my first ARB meeting.
Oh, my goodness.
No, and I was like a deer in headlights. And they got an approval for a gate, a 6-foot gate. This is on Bluff Road, 252. This is do you have, there's like a rendering of what this was going to look like.
Right up on the border.
And they included the check that they deposited for the gate. It was a very expensive gate. And you pulling them up?
But
And so the photographs, so there's some black and white photographs that, and then there's some colors that show it really nicely.
It's here.
No color renderings?
Here's just one item loaded into the file. It's titled approved gate. Those are the images, the 5 that I reviewed with you.
Because I didn't take pictures because I had this whole packet and I assumed that this whole thing was submitted and put into the,
Does it look like this?
are you
Yeah.
sure? Because.
I'm very sure, yes. It's only
Because
one
I
item.
could have sworn we.
Can I make a
looked at
note of
this on
something that
Wednesday.
just for the record? I didn't submit the application. I built the home, CO'd it, and then
Okay,
the home was sold to the current owner now that I watched the house for them. And I'm noticing that on this approved drawing that the height is 6 feet. The gate is 6 feet itself and it's approved, but that gate is clearly above grade.
You mean it's
You mean that it's extra?
This is dimensioned right here to 6 feet.
Right, the
And this,
gate
the
itself.
grade is clearly shown on the drawing.
So you're saying it was
So-
approved in error?
So, well, the
That happens.
installer understood, and it was never the intention of my client to have a gate higher than 6 feet. And I witnessed today how a good application with review is streamlined and, good applications get approved and will move along in their lives. I've seen and I recognize all of these things that.
What is he
go on and
talking
on and
about,
on
this
and on,
here?
and
No, this is the gray right here, and this says 6 feet.
You want to, explain what you're talking about?
This is marked right here. This is marked 6 feet right here.
Just the gate itself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so,
all right, well,
So-
wait.
but listen,
No, you listen. No, let me
Oh,
explain.
yeah.
No, but let me
Argue.
explain something, because it doesn't, none of this matters. We
Okay.
can't approve anything over 6 feet from grade. It is in our code. If that was something that slipped through by mistake or intentionally, that was presented as a 6-foot gate, your resolution says that this board approved a 6-foot gate. Our code is from grade. So there's no gray area in the resolution and/or our code. So what the problem is that gate now existing measures, first of all, the posts are 18 feet wide, okay? And inches wide. And so because the posts are so wide, it presents very large. Because it's high up off the grade, this 6-foot gate, it actually measures from grade. One of them it's an inch off is 6'10", and the other one is 6'11".
oh, I'm not
Right,
disputing
and
anything.
and from grade on your
Yeah.
posts, we're up to 6'10", 6'11" as well. So we're close to 7 feet. I can't approve this.
Just from my own understanding, because I didn't submit the application for the gate. It was done by East Hampton Gate and Fence.
Right.
Michael, who dealt with the owner directly, and I understand there are other gates and homeowners that didn't know that they would be in this situation that they currently are, right? I think I don't know any of the others, but listen, maybe I'm repeating hearsay, but
You're correct.
I think it's true, right? So, yes, my client did spend a lot of money. It is a visual, you can see through the gate. It's not obstructing or creating any kind of barrier.
You're not hearing me. I can't
Well,
approve, and it doesn't matter if it was made out of gold. We can't approve anything over 6 foot. Let me continue.
You're
After-
interrupting me, and I was just in the middle of a statement, and I absolutely would not interrupt you. I'm just, this is a moment where I just want to get my opinion across, and I absolutely would let you talk after I finish without interrupting.
You're going to let me talk after you.
100%.
Thank you. I appreciate
So
it.
and again, just from someone who I built a home there, the client spent a lot of money, it's irrelevant. They built something into kind to the neighborhood. It's well maintained. We maintain the right of way out in the street because it's not necessarily a requirement, but it's a, cars and people and neighbors, and with all the construction, they park on it and damage it. And we've continuously fixed the rutting and put the sod back and sprinkled it so the grass stays green. And that's, if we know Bluff Road, there is quite a grass front there that cost associated with that is significant.
6 feet.
So I just want to recognize let that be recognized. And
This
is fine.
That's 610.
built the home,
610.
who fully understands the details of this type of home and what's there.
Is that what that says?
Not knowing that this gate was built to what it is, and I agree that it was proposed to 6 feet and this glitch on the thing. And from the average grade, it is 6 foot gate per your code, and I, as soon as I'm done, I would love to understand how that code was written, like who drafted it, where that came from, because I would never want to go through this again. I don't typically do things that aren't, built and approved the way that they were.
I want to just make, and I'm not interrupting you, but no,
last point.
it doesn't matter.
I just want to,
Last point, okay.
last point. Someone who has the knowledge of things that stand out. I never once noticed that. I mean, I heard other things tonight where there are solid gates and there are other people that do things that are very physically visual, not right. I don't think someone, would notice that this gate is that much more above the 6 feet. I'm not denying that from grade it is more than 6 feet, but I just don't see this as something that's reducing the community type look that we were,
The issue is they don't have legal authority to approve the existing gate because it's over 6 feet. And so so this is kind of all of a, your point is taken, but those are not
That's all I wanted to
directly relevant to what they have the authority to do, which is they can
Agree.
approve up to a 6 foot gate from grade in the front yard. And as this is, the left side, the pillar is 6'10", I think that it says.
I think it says 5'10" here.
I think that's a 6, but agree to disagree. It's above what they can legally approve. So while I have sympathy to what you're saying, I can't wave a magic wand and let them approve something that exceeds what their authority is in the town code, which the fencing regulations are available at, if you just Google East Hampton Town Code, it's all readily available, fences, walls and berms for you to see, but it is a 6 foot height limitation, and that's
so 6 foot height limit
in the front yard.
At some year, someone just said, that's it, this is.
So someone, being the town board, the elected officials in East Hampton passed an amendment to the town code after a public hearing with input from the planning board, the building department, and the public at large, and they elected to approve those height amendments. So
Never been a variance or any kind of.
So this board is not the board that approves variances. That's the ZBA.
That's what I didn't know. Okay.
We-
So I'm not trying to argue anything with anyone. I'm just trying to understand where the 6 foot code came from, and that if they choose, they could go before the ZBA for a variance.
Yes, you're welcome to try to get
That doesn't mean that this board will approve the gate even if they get the variance? Is that true?
the variance the variance is a variance to the zoning code. So the zoning code says 6 feet, and you're seeking a variance that this does not apply to.
And I'm not trying to discourage you from doing that, but I'm just going to let you know it's not going to happen sooner. And if you'll give me my.
Go ahead, I'm sure.
I want to explain to the board what happened. After they received their resolution, East Hampton Gate installed this, knowing full well what the code is and how we measure from grade. And they came back before the ARB to get approval after this was built. And I believe it was Peter Gumpel who went out and measured it and denied the C of O. Okay, and that was in 2016.
So there's no
for-
C of
so
O on
for
this.
4 years, they never closed that C of O out. They just ignored the fact that this was denied. And I have driven by this house many times, and I notice it all the time that it's a very large, big, white, massive gate. So for you to say that nobody thinks that you're interrupting me now, okay? And there is nothing that we can do to approve this as is. And I just don't want to keep going on and on and on. We hear this all the
I'm not
time. And
asking.
I'm really sorry that this happened.
Listen, I understand too. I know your understanding position and your requirement. That I'm not questioning that. understand the process. I'm not looking
Well,
for,
I believe that Peter came in and spoke at great length with
Yeah.
Laura about what the situation is
Yeah.
and what this board is capable of doing and not.
So-
If this gate is at 4 feet, you don't have to come back before us. If anything above 4, below 6, you need ARB.
So if you're a builder, why can't you just cut this down to be 6 feet?
the gate is open, so it would require that gate to be removed and dismantled of some way. It has a steel structure inside of it. It's made out of like a plastic, like AZAC material. So the gate, it definitely, and then it would not be,
You can change the posts. There's a steel,
Post you can
there's a
cut down.
steel, 4x4 steel post inside there. You could change the framing of that. You could lower the whole gate down and cut the little knob off, which is cute. But then you would be very, very close to 6 feet.
anything's possible. It's steel, nails, screws, wood,
And money.
plastic. Agreed. I
Well,
agree.
and isn't East
But it
Hampton
comes at a
Gate
cost.
responsible for this?
That's not for me to
That's,
say.
yeah.
I mean, isn't East Hampton Gate responsible for your dilemma?
Yeah, and, at the same time, I'm looking at something that the owner didn't realize. I didn't realize it,
How could he have not realized it if he is sending either somebody to represent him here to get a closeout for the resolution on this gate and that's denied?
There's owners out here that don't even realize that we built gates.
No,
No, but you've given us his check for $20,000 made out to East Hampton Gate.
Yeah, no, East Hampton Gate.
So he
is the
realized
one
what he was,
responsible.
he realized, the owner realized what he was paying for.
Oh, agreed.
But you said he doesn't know what's going on. He knows what's going on.
He knows a gate's going in, but he's not.
Well,
Not
there's a gate
measuring it, is
here.
that what you're saying?
I think he wasn't privy to the code and it was, he probably handed over, and this is speculation, responsibility to the gate person who at that time was representing his clients
Right.
and who is well aware of how to measure a gate with regards to our code. But if this goes in and it's, close to a foot over what our code is, it has to be rectified. And you had 4 years of sitting on a denied, knowing, not you, but them knowing that this was denied because it was too tall. It was too tall in 2016 and it's too tall in 2021.
At the end of the day, the homeowner is responsible. I mean, that's
Exactly.
what it comes down to. Like, it's the owner of the property is responsible for rectifying the violations of the code on the property.
So is the homeowner Peter Pritchard?
Yes.
Okay, so he wrote a letter about this.
Recently?
So I'm going to table it. You come back and let us.
And part of this was education to me to understand, and I appreciate your time, and in no way was I looking to aggravate anyone, but I totally understand where the board.
It's not the first time we've
Yeah.
had this kind of problem.
Yeah.
And,
Won't be the last.
No, understood.
well, and it's not, it has to do with the manufacturer of the gate.
Understood. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so our next meeting is the 26th. I'm sure you heard it 3 times
Okay.
tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is table?
Yes. Okay, we're going to move over to issuance of certificate of occupancy. Tax map, 37 Town Line Road, LLC, tax map number 300-196-3-1, 37 Town Line Road in Wayne-Scott, Esperanza.
Yes, so this is for issuance of certificate of occupancy. Regrettably, I was provided with only the application along with a copy of the resolution for the generator, which was a resolution dated May 27th of this year. The actual application should have been for the entire, for the new residence that has been built on this property. And I did try to remedy that situation today at the last hour by requesting from Nora all of the documents pertaining to this property. But I think just in my quick review, I'm hesitant to just go ahead and approve this. I think I need more time to really look at it all. I was told, I met the owner of the property today, and was told that, really they built everything as specified. And I could say, probably it substantially conforms. But however, I actually just looking at the generator, I did go out there today and measure that. And the measurement I got for it was, let's see, 77 by 45 and a quarter by 34 and a quarter. And on the resolution, it is 62.2 by 30.6 by 38.6.
What is this? I'm sorry, I got.
For the generator.
Oh, the generator.
So this is that new house that's across from Town Line Barbecue on the other side of the street.
Yes, we're down just.
We
down the road from
talked
that.
about this house endlessly. It's a long house and it was before us quite a while ago.
It's been before us 2 or 3 times. First time was in, I think, 2020.
Yes, yeah.
And
okay,
then
okay.
we approved, it came back and they had changed some materials like, red cedar shingle from red cedar shingle to Alaskan yellow.
Right.
But yeah,
So let's table.
I think it's just better that I be able to
Right,
really.
but I wanted
have
to
the
ask you,
plans and everything. But I also-
What does the generator actually measure?
What I measured there today was 77 by 45 and a quarter.
It's quite,
by 34 and a quarter.
that's
And-
a lot
and that's-
bigger than,
It's bigger.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but something like that, when we were going through the approval process, we could approve it as built. Same with some of the other
Yeah,
issues.
again,
that
like
you-
substantially conforms.
Yeah.
The one thing that I did want to point out, which actually I was really happy that there was a split rail fence at this property before. It was a much more modest house, 1 story. And that rail fence is indicated on the survey. But it actually is outside of the property line.
What do you laughing at?
No, it's just somebody outside the property line fences.
So there's 50 feet of scenic easement in the front of the property. So I don't know if that makes any difference. Do you want to take a look?
It's 4 feet, right?
It's just a regular.
If we're gonna table it, I'd like to look at it and get back to us.
Yeah,
Yes.
So let's
Yeah.
do that.
so just not huge issues, just I think I need more
Some
time.
housekeeping.
Yeah, unfortunately for the applicant.
Wire fence.
And, this is something that wasn't entirely our office's error. It
Right.
was just the unfortunate clerical mistake on behalf of the applicants as well.
They didn't submit the required resolution for us to.
To poll, yeah.
Oh, that, never mind.
Town Line Barbecue is right here.
Right, gotcha.
Oh, no, it's up here.
Okay, so
Hi, can I ask you what you?
Here's 5 Good Friend Drive. faces
Okay,
us.
okay, good. Yeah, we're 1 more ahead of you. Timing was perfect. Were you watching on TV? Really?
oh, good, smooth.
Chip, if I can have that back real quick. Great, thanks. Okay, William Mulligan, tax map number 300-92-7-2, 12 Shorewood Drive in East Hampton. This is, I'm sorry, did you really want to look at that?
No.
I could get it later. I'm just trying to move through this. I was up there the other day and pretty much everything that was on the resolution has been done. They were to reduce a very large white gate down to 4-foot 8-inch post with a 4-foot 3-inch gate. They had 8-foot fencing in the backyard and they had a 4-foot fencing in the front attached to the gate, and then along the side part going towards the back, it elevated to 6 foot. So everything was to what the resolution is. So I'd like to make a motion to approve this and instruct the staff to advise the building department that it's ready for a certificate of occupancy. Could I get a second on that, Esperanza? Second. All in favor?
Yes.
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 Yes, thank you. Next is, last but not least, 5 Good Friend Drive LLC, tax map number 300-181-4-12, 5 Good Friend Drive in East Hampton. Chip,
Cal, can you bring up the photos?
if you'd like to come up to the podium.
I don't know if there's been any questions, it shouldn't be.
It should be, yeah. So this is an application for a C of O approval of a warehouse on Goodfin Drive off Route 114. Goodfin Drive is a mix of warehouses, office buildings, and the Ross School. Our resolution dates from August 23rd, 2018, so the 3-year time frame to file for the C of O is close at hand.
Sorry, you said August 23rd, not September 27th, as it is on the agenda?
It's a different date, right?
I took it off of one of the documents.
Okay.
I don't know. Applicant replaced a double pedestrian door entrance with a garage door and installed one new pedestrian door nearby. The work is professionally done and is one of the better looking buildings in this mixed neighborhood. I see no reason not to approve this application.
Guess you get the gold star today.
So it's updated as per the resolution, is what you're saying.
Yes. We're good. Any questions? Okay, I would instruct staff to inform the building department to issue a C of O for this property.
We're gonna second, Diane,
Yes.
all in favor, Jonathan,
Yes.
Esperanza.
Yes.
And Desi. I have one question. What kind of car did you drive down here?
Yeah.
It's blank. It's blank down there. And,
No, what car did you drive?
Oh, here? Oh, I took my pickup truck.
Oh, that's perfect.
Well, I don't know the building.
Oh, I
I'm
see.
the builder.
You're just the builder. All right, thank
Oh,
you.
he's not.
Are you right construction?
It's not yet.
Right construction?
That's good for-
Forest construction.
Thanks very much.
All right, thank you. Good night. Thanks for coming by. We want to sign some resolutions. Okay.
Yeah, Esperanza. You're supposed to remind Betsy.
I didn't have to. She's my memory.
Got a little riled up there. Huh?
Nice to.
Yeah, I got a card. It's not-
We're still on,
That's okay.
I just wanted everybody to know. The last time we signed resolutions, I forgot, and we had to sign them afterwards. Okay, so this is for Todd Kingsley, which is tax map number 300-165-5-12.1, 89 Springs Close Highway.
No, that's my. Yeah.
Just keep
It
this.
is.
Now send it back.
Do this. Good.
Montauk Beach House LLC, tax map number 300-49-4-52.7, 55 South Elmwood Avenue in Montauk. Kyle, do you have a stapler?
I do.
May I?
That's an older stapler.
Oh, this one too, you can staple while you're there, maybe. you're there.
Well, you know what? Let's not staple them because we're going to scan them.
Oh, okay,
I
even
have
better.
bigger clips.
Okay, that's probably why
Good,
they're.
good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to sign,
Yeah, thank you, Kyle.
so you don't need to.
I know, right?
This is a private beach house.
Hampton Merch LLC, tax map number 300-197-2-11.1, 352 Montauk Highway in Wayne State.
There's two Esperanzas on this one.
Well, there is also here, you know what it is, when she does, she probably has this on a file, so we'll just mention, I'll make a note to mention that. Oh,
We can revise it. That's
yeah,
fine.
it's fine. I'll put it in the, is it on the same? Okay. All right, this one doesn't have you twice. Thank you.
For this meeting, I wasn't present. So,
You shouldn't sign it.
the other one was,
Todd Kingsley.
right,
This is all from.
was that from the last meeting? Oh, then I should sign that. I mean, I watched it, but
I watched
didn't vote on it. Just- I thought that.
So you should cross your signature out then.
What?
It was 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I seen, I
Okay.
I don't.
That's it. I'm gonna make a motion to close the meeting. Can I get a second, Esperanza? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
you.